What's up, everybody? My name is Joshua Yoder, and welcome to the Joshua Yoder Show. Today, my guest is someone that I've been trying to reach out for some time now, and thankfully, we've been able to set up a time to meet. He is the juggernaut of professional wrestling. His name is John Rodin. What's up, Mr. Rodin? Thank you for coming on my show.
How you doing? Thanks for having me. I know I'm difficult to get a hold of, but I'm glad we made it happen.
No, man, I understand, and I appreciate you taking the time because I know you've been going through a bit of a rough patch these couple weeks, but I've been wanting to reach out to you and see how you've been holding up and how you've been holding up, by the way, bud.
I mean, we're holding up as good as anybody can be. The last couple weeks hasn't gone how I wanted it to, obviously, or anybody for that matter. But all things considered, we're here.
No, man, I'm sorry to hear that. And for those of you that may not know, recently I did an interview with Matt TRK Silks, and there was a bit of an incident which he has gone on record a couple times that it was just, it's a simple little scuffle, nothing to really be upset over. And unfortunately, his contract's going to be allowed to expire while you, unfortunately, are no longer with the company. In which, first and foremost, how you been recovering since that unfortunate incident?
I mean, like everybody's saying, like he said, and like I'll say for the first time, at least publicly, it was a scuffle. It could have gotten a whole lot worse had I known we were actually gonna go to that point. I think people realized, and Matt probably realizes too, that if I knew it was that elevated, it would have went a lot differently. But like as far as I'm concerned, it was a 30-second skirmish with 1,500 hands involved. So, like I said, there's a lot of comments about how that went, but it's like it's easy to Monday morning quarterback when you weren't there, you weren't involved, you haven't been dealing with any of this stuff like I have, and like the HWF locker room has been.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate too because it was coming off a very good match. By the way, you guys had a great main event, a 6-man tag with you and Dog Nation and Ed House, and the SOMC. So definitely emotions. Is it fair to say emotions were running high after such an incredible match?
I mean, emotions have been running high for a long time, but it's just that's nothing new for me with HWF. And it's like this goes to the part where we play into, well, Rodin's great, he's the best, blah blah blah. Call me cocky, but I am the best professional wrestler in HWF. I let them say it, and I'm not one to just shrug it off because I realize it. I put in the work, and every time that I'm wrestling in HWF, if it ain't match of the night, it's pretty damn close. So, like I said, our
And
emotions
is it
running
fair
high.
to
They're
say
always
that's kind
are.
of your goal?
That's always been my goal. And like I said, when I went to HWF and I committed to this company, that's obviously my performance shows how serious I am about this. And like I do take it really serious. So when that gets mocked or it gets put down or I feel disrespected, then yeah, emotions are going to run high. And that's what happens. So.
Yeah, and definitely, and me personally, I kind of like the more serious technical wrestling, which I really enjoyed seeing you and Dog Nation work together. It's almost like you guys worked together for years. So,
Yeah, they're guys that take it serious. I take it serious. They take it serious, and to some degree, the Suns take it serious. Like they want to get better. Ed House, when he's not being a goofball, he's a very good professional wrestler. So I'm not surprised at how that went. I mean, since I came to HWF, I've made the goal of having the better guys come in. Like it's you have to raise the bar, or I'm going to make them, or everybody's going to look foolish. And I'll give HWF this much credit. I've been put in matches where guys, if they're not at my level, they're trying to get there, so they step up. So, like I said, that was no shocker there.
yeah, and then let's get you, into the HWF. When you first got there, a lot of people may not know this, but you came in as a tag team with Zack Rayne and NeverFall. Well, and you
Mhm.
guys were a tremendous tag team. Like, how did you guys get together?
Uh, I met Zack Rayne like a year into my pro wrestling journey. Had a tag team match against him, and since then we've always been friends. Like we always got along. And then when my career took a kind of like a downward trajectory in like 2022, 2023, Zack Rayne was there, and like I said, we formed NeverFall, and that's when I feel like almost a resurgence took off. Like things were getting better and going good, and HWF did give us an opportunity with multiple matches to come in and prove ourselves. So, I mean, me and Zach's relationship, we're going into 15 or 16 years. So,
Yeah, whose idea was it to form NeverFall?
uh, as much as I want to take credit for everything, Zack Rayne is literally everything with NeverFall. It was not my idea. He came up, like, we brainstormed names and stuff like that. But as far as making a tag team and a final run and just seeing what we could do together, I'll give him 100% credit for Neverfall. The dude put in the work. He made the t-shirts. He did everything. He got us matches. Because like I said, I wasn't in a good headspace. So as much as I want to downplay it or give myself creative credit, because I do for a lot of matches and some of the ideas that I have, but that was all Zack Rayne.
Yeah, and one of the things that I liked about you, and you and I have gotten along great backstage. For those of you that don't know, I love your serious style. I love the technical brawling style that you have. For those of you that would like to get to know you better, who was your major influences of your wrestling style?
I mean, if we talk about my favorite wrestlers, I always go to Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero. Obviously, I don't think my style necessarily reflects what they do in the ring. I wish I could be that good, but I get a lot of Kevin Owens. I get a lot of Rhino, the Tommy Dreamer, kind of like a mix with a hardcore and a brawler. I'd even say like a Vader-esque, but I'm not as big as an opposing as they are. But as far as influence, like I said, Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero at the top. I'm a big Bret Hart fan. I don't necessarily think I mimic everything because with professional wrestling, sure, I can love Eddie Guerrero, but I'm not doing what he's going to do because it's an insult and I won't make it look as good. I believe in playing to your role, playing to your strengths and what you're good at. And that was never me. I mean, I can invoke emotion from a crowd. I can make it as real as I want it to. Like it just paint with a broad brush. I just want people when they watch me to realize like, oh, those other guys might be clowns, or that was fun, and that guy, but this dude takes it serious. That Rodin dude, like he's no joke. And that's what I've done, especially the last couple years with my career. Because like I said, I'm year 16 in this and starting, and it's like the longer you go, the more limited the bumps you can take and what you're willing to sacrifice and the toll it takes on your body. So I do take it very serious.
Oh no, absolutely, and that's kind of one of the things that I will say that I get a little annoyed with some wrestling is I don't feel like not everybody. I think there's still some that do it, but I wish more people would be like make it look like a serious competition almost. Don't you think?
Mhm. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. Like I said, I'm all for people saying there's something for everybody in wrestling and this and that. I just die on the hill of if you're gonna have me pick, I want it to be as serious as possible because there's enough stuff to laugh about with what we do. And I don't want people laughing. You know what I mean? I treat it like a sport, treat it like a competition, treat it like violence, because that's what it is at times. And there's a lot of people that take this as a joke. And that's fine, but you're gonna stay at a certain level, and I'm not gonna let you come up to that level. I'm not gonna play into that. So I could always get better. I could always take it even more serious. But like I said, when I see people floundering and doing the funny haha, it's not my style of wrestling. So like I said, different strokes for different folks, but what I do works, at least on this level.
Absolutely. And you kind of mentioned him earlier, Eddie Guerrero. Can you believe it's been over 20 years now since he passed away?
I mean, I remember the night that it happened. I was pretty emotional about it, but yeah, he's one of the greatest of all time. You watch that and it's hard. I challenge anybody to bring up a bad Eddie Guerrero match. You might have a spot here or there that didn't go the way they wanted it to, or maybe having an off night, but his off night is people's best nights. So
No, I 1000% agree with that. I would even go back to saying like check out some of the stuff he did in Japan before he came to ECW. He was doing some great stuff in Japan.
yeah, the Black Tiger stuff and all that. Yeah.
Dude, I absolutely love it. And you mentioned Kurt Angle. I mean, the guy legit won a gold medal with a broken neck. And I don't think he had a bad match either. I think Kurt Angle's he's just a flat out machine.
Yeah, I mean, his best matches were in TNA where nobody really saw him. So it's like the dude had it all. He could be funny, but as soon as the bell rang, he was serious. It was on another level. He could be the entertainer, but that's what I like. If you're going to be funny and you can be an entertainer, once the bell rings, I want it as close to violent as we can get. You know, I want people in awe. I want people wondering how are they doing that? How's he getting back up? And that was Kurt. So he's probably number one.
Oh, absolutely. And to be honest with you, the first time I got to see him and AJ Styles get in the ring together, my jaw never left the floor. It was insane how good they were.
He's underappreciated, I think. Like I said, he's a Hall of Famer. He gets kudos, but I think it's not enough for what he's actually done.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. Especially what he went through in his personal life and the fact that he continued to battle is, in my opinion, inspiring.
Right.
Now, well, you kind of brought it up earlier too, and one of the things that I've always admired about you is that you've been doing this now for almost 20 years yourself as a wrestler. What was it like when you first started?
I mean, when I first started, like I said, I said I'm 16 years in this. I didn't have my first match until about 15 years ago. But, you know, I was a 17-year-old kid. So just driving, I live a few hours north of Pittsburgh. So we had to drive down there every weekend to train, set up, tear down the ring. I was a kid. I wasn't in shape. I didn't take it as serious as I should have. I say if I had the mindset at 25 and 26 when I really started to take wrestling serious and take a stab at it, if I had that brain at 17 years old, I don't know where I would have been. So I still loved it. I was passionate about it, but there's different levels of this. And as serious as you want to take it is as high as you'll go, which I try to preach to people because our bumps are limited. Our time is limited doing this. So if you're going to do it, if you're going all in, you just have to know the sacrifice and what it's going to cost. But I mean, it was a different time back then, but it wasn't as soft as it is now. But that's, you know, times change and you change with the times or you just fade away.
Yeah, no, and I totally can get that. And you mentioned about the bumps being limited too. And what was that moment for you where you were kind of like, you know what? It's now or never. We're going to go all out on this.
Well, where I had the mindset shift, that was when I was about 2017. I went through a serious weight loss and I started doing seminars all across the country. Um, like I said, when I started taking myself serious and my health and prioritizing it and actually learning and taking any show I could and sit under any learning tree I could, it paid off in dividends. But that's one of those things. Respect the guys that can do it as long as they did. I fell off at one point. There's no joke about that. People realize I'm not the 2017 to 2019 version of myself. I think I'm seasoned. I think I know a lot of things. I have a lot to contribute to professional wrestling, but it's hard, man. It's a grind. Like it's just it's been a lot to think about. And as far as like the mindset shift with the bumps, like that only happened in the last couple years when I started having some health issues, like with my lower back and some memory issues. So it makes you wonder, was that bump worth it? Should I have went that far for that? You know, should I have taken that move or allowed that to happen to myself? And what's it costing me now? So
Well, and another thing too that I try to still explain to people even to this day is that the traveling is really tough on the body as well because you're going long distances, and plus, not to mention, you got regular job, so you
yeah,
got a lot to go on that's really beating down on your body.
right. And I mean, I've talked about it before, but it's like people. I wish I would have taken better care of myself after matches, like taking the time to roll out, get more massages, excuse me, keep my muscles loose and all that. But I think it was inevitable that, you know, the body breaks down. Guys that go full time, like WWE guys, guys that are doing this week after week, I give them all the credit in the world because you go back and look at some of my matches. Did I do some things that I regret and that maybe I shouldn't have? Yeah. But I wasn't, you're not going to find matches where I'm splitting my head open and going into thumbtacks and diving off balconies, but it still wore down my body. So kudos to the guys that do it. But that's when the realization happened, is when when this onset of, oh man, that's hurting longer than it did. The bumps that I took at 17, 2 days later, you're up and running again. Do it now at 33, and it's a lot different.
No, absolutely too. And has there been any contact with like bigger promotions during your career?
Um, I want to say there was teasers, like in 2019 was probably my best year as far as traveling and having so many matches, and getting maybe the slightest bit of buzz, even in this area where people are like, dang, he's good. Like, he's really progressed and there's something there. And I always said that, even now, even though I'm not signed and I never got signed, I said, I've hung with guys, I've been at seminars, I've had tryout matches with guys for bigger companies that went on to futures and had more promising careers. And I always said, it's like, I might be missing that one thing. I don't know what it is. Could be a look, could be an additive to my body, my character. I'm just missing that one thing. And once I find out what it is, then maybe we'll take off. It never happened the way I wanted it to, but I knew that I was onto something. And I even hold my hat with saying that if you put me on a show, I'm not going to give you a horrible match. It's going to be good. It's going to be solid. You can trust me. Like I said, it's wrestling's one of those things that plays with your emotions. But like I said, if there was ever a time, it was probably around that 2019 mark where I was doing a lot of tryouts, and I felt like I was right on the cusp of something.
No, absolutely. And to be honest with you, I think that's awesome to hang your hat on, is to have like, good matches everywhere you go, because people don't realize like it's still, you may not be able to get to bigger companies as quickly or as well as you'd like, but to have good matches, that's still something to hang your hat on, because you still care about wrestling and you want it to look as great as possible.
Right. If people are going to come out there and spend their money, like I said, things aren't cheap now. So if I have a family and I want to take my wife and 2 kids and we're all paying $20, like, plus gas, plus parking, plus concession, plus driving back home, like, that's an expensive night. So it's like, I understand that. And I understand time's limited and it's valuable, and there's so many other things to distract yourself with. So it's a disservice whenever people aren't putting their all into this. I'm not saying go out there and kill yourself, but you got to make it as real as possible. You got to make it, there should be no holes in your game. You should be practicing, you should be getting better, you should be learning. And I could still be doing that. But it's like, I've sat under those trees, I've learned, and it's like, I'm confident that when I go out there, I might not be their favorite, but they're gonna realize, like, okay, he's good. He's next level. He's different.
No, dude, that's awesome. And like, and one of the things too, what would be, how do I want, what would be your favorite moment so far in your long career?
Um, Looking back on my career, I've had, and this is where you struggle, like, oh, I never made it. I never did anything of serious significance. But it's like, I look at it different ways. Like, I've had moments where there's just thunderous applause and just people losing their minds, or traveling 3 hours to watch my match. Like, we're not related and these people are driving this far to watch me have a special moment. Like, um, winning a couple of those heavyweight titles that I did over the years, and the story leading into that were my biggest moments. Um, I wrestled Billy Gunn up in Erie one time. That was a pretty big moment. Like, the people traveled pretty far, people that were following me and fans of me, even family and stuff like that. But that's where, like, I had a match with him. It was solid. It was good. And I'm like, okay, like, I can do this. Um, Even HWF, like, say what you want, but like that tag team titles where the Suns pinned Zack Rayne, thunderous ovation. It's like, holy cow, like, if you're gonna lose, what a way to go down. Like, um Ace eliminating me from that rumble, like, thunderous, crazy. So it's like, even when I have my low moments, like, they're still pretty, you know what I mean? Those are the actions that people want. So I've been blessed as far as that. I've had so many cool moments, as far, like, more than most.
Yeah, no, and that's an awesome way to look at it. And to be honest with you, this might sound a little selfish of me, but I really enjoyed you and Zach as a tag team. I really like Zach's style, the whole technical wrestling, and you guys as a NeverFall as a tag team. It was a shame that you guys split up. I mean, I understood why, but when Zach came to you and said, "Hey, man, I think my time's coming up. I want to split the tag team. What was your initial reaction to that?
I can't be mad because, like I said, it was Zack's idea to even do it. Like, I wouldn't have been in NeverFall. I probably wouldn't have been doing much of anything if he didn't drag me out of my own like rut and just get me focused on something and a tag team to start pushing and care about this a little more. So like I said, everybody's gonna have their final moment one day or another. So it's like, what a way to go out. That's how he wanted to go out, and he went out. I mean, respect to him. Most people just leave and never come back, or they get hurt, or he got to go out on a moment, and his moment was me winning the heavyweight title. So I gave him his props at the end of it, and he should be proud. Like I said, he's one of the few good guys. We've had our issues, and like I said, I don't like everything that he says, and that's quite obvious when you watch me in HWF. But like overall, he's a good guy. So you can't say that about too many people in professional wrestling.
No, that is an unfortunate truth, especially nowadays. But what was your opinion and your mindset? As you're like, okay, now I'm not in a tag team no more. What was your now focus? Like, okay, I'm singles. I gotta. What was your like mindset? Like, do you feel like you had something to prove, or do you feel like, oh, or how do I say this? Like, do you feel like you had something to prove, or you just felt like you're like, you know what? I got nothing to worry about.
I think there's always that. I got something to prove. Like, I started out as a tag team wrestler when I got my kind of resurgence and my kick in the butt, 2016 to 19 ish. It was all about me. I was selfish. I wanted the best. I wanted everything. I wanted to get better. And then I dipped off, and then I jumped back into tag team, and that gave me another boost to be like, man, I can do this. Like, I'm solid. I'm okay. And then going for that heavyweight title run, like, yeah, I had a lot to prove. Like, I did a lot of mistakes in my career, and I burned bridges, and um, it was more to prove to myself that I could still do it. And it's like I could go to other companies and show like, here's my body of work. Like, I'm still worth something. I have a value, and look at the quality that I'm providing. So, like I said, I just looked at it every time it's something to prove because my matches are limited, and it's like I don't want to waste my time. So why am I going to drive that far, commit that time, feel that pain for the next week or two to not take it serious?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it kind of leads me back to like, the unfortunate incident that occurred between you and Matt, which is one of the reasons why I've been trying to reach out to you, because I'm trying to, help explain to people that, you're not the kind of guy that many people would think you are, like people, it was just a simple little incident that really everyone else seems to kind of downplay it, including Matt. And he was kind of disappointed that, you got released, you know, stuff like this. I guess especially with today's media too, people are like saying, "Oh, well, Matt did this, well, John did that," and it's like, well, first of all, it wasn't anything like that. You guys just got into a little, emotions ran high, and you unfortunately got released. And I'm just trying to hopefully explain to people that you're not a bad guy, and I don't want the media to overblow things, and you're not able to get bookings.
I mean, it maybe I'll sound like a bad guy now, but it's one of those things like, yeah, emotions ran hot. 99% of the time I've been professional. But it's like, did I say anything in my HWF run that wasn't true? Like, I've kept a lot of things quiet about this company, and it came to a head at that show, but it's like at no point have I ever been a liar. And it's like these fans are almost have blinders on when it comes to the Suns and all that stuff. Like, if we're gonna play it, like let's call it like it is. When NeverFall lost the titles, did we ever get a title rematch? No. Whenever I do get a shot at the heavyweight title, it's a night that I have to retire Zack Rayne, and then it becomes about him. It's not really about Rodin, is it? Like, the night turned into a Zack Rayne thing. Whenever I did this for 16 years, the first fan to ever hit me, ever touch me, maybe a pat on the back. First one to ever strike me was at HWF. Did I do anything? Did I flip out? Did I go off on the company? Did I ask for more money? Did I kick that fan out of it? No, I kept doing the match, and I finished strong. Whenever, let's think of more. There's more here. Whenever I lost at house, plants my head into a chair. I got, actually, there's a better one with that. I was injured that night. I was injured. I could barely walk. I could barely breathe. Driving in this car hurt. Like, take a deep breath. It crumbled me over. There was something really messed up with my back. So I tell HWF, I said, I don't think I can wrestle tomorrow. I really don't think I'll show up. I'll cut a promo. I'll do whatever you want. I don't think I can wrestle. What happened that night? I'm in a triple threat. They put me with Sledge. They put me with Ed. I get planted onto a chair. I lose the championship. Okay. I do it. Next time, I'm #1 contender. Actually, we'll talk about the heavyweight title run that I did have. Was I main event on all those shows? No, I wasn't. Who was? The Suns were. They had their shot. Okay, fast forward. Did I get a heavyweight title rematch? No. I get thrown into a 6-man tag. And Sledge becomes #1 contender all of a sudden. You get what I'm saying? Like, this stuff is piled up over time and time again. And this goes to Matt Silks. Matt Silks says he's not in charge of HWF. I believe you. You're not in charge. Obviously, you're not in charge. But don't think for a second that he does not have a lot of pull and a lot of say at that company. Like, let's just call it what it is. He said that's his ring. And like I said, they're getting rid of you, but your ring's still there. You're still getting paid for that. You still get to run the training school. You still get all the props from the fans. You get one more chance to go out there and make a payday for doing the same thing that I did. I don't know who shoved first, who punched first. It really doesn't matter. But like I said, this is stuff that is built time and time again, and I'm staying quiet backstage. I'm just letting stuff slide. Like, I'm injured. I got to work a triple threat. Ed House is injured. Let's say that he's suspended. Ed House isn't feeling good at the next show. He can barely move. His thigh's, torn off the bone, or he's going through all sorts of stuff. Let's do a 6-man tag. I do it too. You know what I mean? It's just there's stuff that's built over time that it paints me out to be the bad guy because I got issues with this company, and I'm the only one that verbalizes it. Because people are afraid to say stuff to Matt. They're afraid to say stuff to Rodney because there's a clique culture in HWF, and I don't play that game. I've stayed quiet for so much stuff, and then the night that I speak up, and I'm tired of hearing him run his mouth, that's what happened. There's the long and short of it. It's been a buildup of stuff over time. And yeah, me and Matt have gotten along to have matches and have moments. But like I said, it's like the only reason that's happened is because I stayed quiet. The only thing that's happened is because I stayed professional. I let you do those games. I let you put yourself in front of me on shows. Like, you see where I'm getting at? I'm not asking you to pick sides, but it's like when you hear both sides of the story, it's not all glitz and glamour of HWF. And I say these things. I speak up about these trainees. How many promos have you seen me cut for shows, Josh? Tons, right?
Yeah.
I was one of the only guys that was doing it. And if you go back and watch those promos, I call guys out every time because I'm the only one that says anything. Why aren't these guys cutting promos? They want to be the best. They want to be the heavyweight champion. The guys sit in the back and do not. I said all that. I said it for months, and nothing changed. But because you get a new toy like Ed House and you have the Suns, like, I'm just forgotten about all of a sudden. And that's the problem that I have with people. Like, they're so blind because it's Lewistown. Like, that means nothing to me. Call it like you see it. I called out his trainees. You know how many people have ever asked me? 16 years of experience, trained under Harley Race, trained under Billy Gunn and Billy Kidman and Dave Taylor, William Regal. I've sat under all those trees. Learning. You know how many guys from Matt's crew asked me to watch their matches?
Not many.
Try zero. The only person that's ever asked me to review one of their matches and look after and maybe critique what they're doing was Isaiah Frazier. And that's real. The only person that's ever asked me. So I come to the back and I look and there's this trainees just sitting there. You have a wrestling show going on behind that curtain and they're sitting there staring at their phone. But then what's going to happen is that one day when Matt thinks they're ready, they're going to get fed to guys like Isaiah Frazier. And if he doesn't hold up his end of the deal, then he'll be gone. That's the long and short of HWF and why I was so frustrated. And there's nothing I said right there that isn't true.
No, totally understandable. And, and to be fair, when I was doing my interview with Matt, he did bring up some of that stuff. Has anyone tried from HWF tried to reach out to you?
I mean, they've tried to reach out. He's tried to reach out. I just don't know what people want me to say. Like, I got to answer for this in my outside life. Is that real? Is it not real? Like, does it even matter to you guys? Does it matter to HWF if I answer them and come back? Like, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to come back? Do you want to make some money? Do you want me to fight Matt? I'll fight him straight up. We can do that. You can film it. We can have a match. We can do whatever you want, but they're not going to do that. You know why? Because all I do is speak the truth and I expose them. Every time I'm in the ring with Matt Silks, I expose him.
No, man. I mean, I can understand your frustration. I don't blame you for being frustrated, bud, because, pro wrestling can be, unfortunately, a political battleground, unfortunately.
And that's what it is. That's all it's ever been with HWF. And I've tried to use this company to elevate it and get it better. I've called out guys. I've told them to cut the promos. I'm there to watch matches. I'm there to make your guys look as good as possible with putting myself a priority. And when I don't put myself a priority and I let stuff like that slide, getting struck, not getting rematches, getting pushed to the side for the new toy. And then I stand up for myself and this is what happens. So yeah, it's frustrating, dude.
Nah, man, and my thoughts and prayers to you, bud. And what are your future goals now since, I guess, HWF's in your rearview mirror?
I don't know. Like I said, it's no secret that I was slowing down a bit and I was using HWF to build my my backlog of good matches and try to give a run that was actually excitable and could get people talking about me again, maybe. But now that's ended, and now you look at it, it's like if there was ever a chance of bringing John Rodin back to your company, wrestling in Pittsburgh, wrestling in other companies, that footage doesn't help. This reputation that I'm hard to deal with and this and that, for what? Because I stood up for myself. You didn't see the months where I didn't stand up for myself and I just let this stuff slide. So now we're at a crossroads, and I don't know. I don't know. I like I said, I think about it every day. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, but we're just kind of neutral right now. Um, like I said, if you want me to apologize, I'm not going to apologize. Like I said, I did what I had to do. It could have been a lot worse. We could have gotten real violent. It was just a skirmish, but like I said, I'm not going to apologize for that. So if that's what they want, you can think something else. But you want to make money, you know where I'm at.
Yeah, man. And with you, like you said, your long career that you've had, what trying to be on a more positive side, how would you want your career to be remembered?
I'm trying to be a realist. Not going to make it in WWE or make the big money. I don't think my body can hold out like that and keep up with that schedule, nor would I really want to now. I gave too much early on and didn't. I mean, I got rewarded with cool moments, but it's like, is the juice worth the squeeze now? I'd like to be remembered when it's all done. Seriously, the guy came out, I remember that night he won the title, or I remember that night the Suns and him fought and it was epic. And maybe if I changed like one kid's life or two or three where they're like, man, it doesn't even have to be wrestling, but if you look at that and you see it as like an inspiration, or man, that's cool. Like that dude does give an F, like he does whatever he wants, or if there's any, and there probably are levels to that I don't even see, that I don't hear about lives that I've affected. Like that's good enough. That needs to be good enough. If everybody that deserved to be in WWE got there, there would be no room. Like there'd be hundreds of us, because there's a ton of people that love this and they're passionate about it. Like it's like that's just not my story. So if my story's like I got somebody better, if I got somebody to have a really good match where they got confidence in themselves and thought that they could, learn, then so be it. That's good enough for me now.
No, man, I'm glad to hear that. And once again, thank you so much for reaching out. And I'm glad to see you're doing okay, because I was worried about you these couple weeks. So thank you so much for coming on my show.
No, I appreciate you giving me a chance to speak about it. Like I said, I don't want to play into the social media stuff. Like it was funny. Like it got some buzz, but like I said, once you break it down and you hear both sides of the story, like Sure, I'll give Matt credit for standing up for himself. Like, I don't believe in his logic and what he thinks works, and playing into this HWF favoritism, which he's going to deny, but it's undoubtedly there. You teach the school, dude. Like, you rent the ring to them. They're biased there, and they don't see it. So I felt underutilized. I felt underappreciated. You could say I'm great, but I know I'm great at this. Like, at least in this level, I know I'm good. So like, there's my side of the story. It was a skirmish, but it was a buildup of a lot of things that I've been frustrated with, that I've honestly said stuff about, but it just goes on deaf ears. So this is a chance. Take that as you want. It was real. It was fake. It was nothing. Like I said, I'm not an HWF. I'm done. If he's a man of his word, he's done August 8th, and kudos to him, and keep showing up. Do your thing, I guess. Like, good luck to the company.
Awesome. But thank you again so much for coming on here, John, and I hope and pray nothing but the best for you.
I appreciate it.
And to all of you watching, I love you all, and God bless. Be safe, everybody.